Well, welcome back to the Sean Trade Show. I got a really awesome guest with me today. Now, would you like to introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Salvatore Totino. I'm a director of photography in the motion picture industry.
Brother,
That enough?
that's awesome. I haven't seen you. I got the chance to work with you guys a long time ago. Was it like 12, 15 years ago? Yeah. It's a long time ago. Like in 2008.
When was that
2008, on? Angels and Demons.
Yeah.
So,
Angels, This 12 years.
12 years
12, 13,
12, 13, yeah. And it was really awesome to see you guys work. And I always wanted a chance to sit down and kind of pick your brain about how did you find this career?
Oh, God. I kind of fell into it.
Really?
I was on a whole different trajectory. I went to college for engineering. I quit. I became an electrical contractor. I was going to then become a New York City policeman. I took a test, all this sort of stuff. And I had a second cousin who worked in the film business in one big Italian family event. He was there. We started talking. He's like, well, he was telling me what he did, and I was interested. I was always very interested in photography.
Yeah.
So my parents immigrated to America, and it's not like you either went to school or you learned a trade. There was no this making a living as an artist kind of thing, They didn't understand it, and nor was it, that culture was developed in my household. So, I always had this interest in photography, and I went some at work, and I really wanted to, know about it more. And he's like, you need to quit your job and become a PA. And then, so I did that, and I got a job as a PA, and I started working as a PA, and I got my way into the camera department. I met a great camera assistant who worked, his name was Paul Gaffney, and he worked with Jack Donnelly on commercials. And he took me under his wing and started training me.
That's awesome.
Got my hands-on camera, and just started learning. I'm what do they call it? Dexterous learner. I learn with my hands really well. I'm dyslexic, so like reading manuals and stuff like that, you kind of get the gist. But when you get your hands on it, somebody shows you, it's like an immediate click.
Yep.
So I started learning camera, and then I was working as a camera assistant. I started moving my way up, and I met a cinematographer by the name of Harris Savides, who just started breaking out from the still world into the music video world.
Nice. And
I started working with him. And from there, it led to me meeting a commercial music video director by the name of Peter Kerr. And Peter sort of liked my eye when I was making suggestions. And one day, started letting me shoot B camera.
That's awesome.
And then one day, he let me shoot a small little MTV promo for him. And then the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. Now, so you.
This is so great about this country. It's like you could do anything,
right?
You need somebody to show you a door sometimes, but it's up to you to open that door and step in. And I think we're very fortunate. Very fortunate to live here. I've been very lucky in that sense, and taking the opportunities and working hard to get your work ethic and turn in, making your passion your life.
I was having this conversation with someone recently, because two people that were from outside the US, one was from Europe and one was from here in Asia. And they were commenting about that. Like, there is this ability in the States still you can make waves if you understand that relationships are important and you understand the value of just hustling. Because my friend was saying in where he was at in Europe, it was all relationships, but it was all these old relationships. So it was really hard to kind of break in. And so he was saying, like, it was a real challenge at times to kind of make inroads. But, that's the beauty of, like, you're right. Like, there is this ability. I love reading. I love going back and reading some of the, all the old stories about, like, Rockefeller time. And it was like the Wild West of business, but like,
oh, they were ruthless.
They were crazy. But
it's just like a borderline mafia, killing people. And it's just like very different.
It was totally different. But yeah, there was still this, like, this idea has always been there of being like self-made, of people kind of being able to kind of create things where you couldn't necessarily do that in other places, So
No, and I think that that's sort of really wonderful, and it's just a matter of a lot is applying yourself. Me at work, when I see crew members that somebody who's like really interested, who's taking that extra step, who's trying to they got a great work ethic, and you approach them and you're like, hey, what do you want to do with your life? And they're like, oh, I want to be a DP, and I'm like, all right, start asking me questions, let me help you. You see that in people, and then you want to sort of reach out.
It's awesome.
And help them, get themselves through that door. And I think that there's a lot more in society today than there was 30 years ago or 40 years ago, especially 50 years ago, that, a lot of people are noticing people's abilities and giving them opportunities.
Yep.
Not everywhere, but they are, I mean, look at Elon Musk.
Right.
Right? I mean, come on. The guy immigrated to America, dropped out of Stanford, and look where he is today.
Right.
He's because of him, the whole green movement, the EV movement in the United States has just gone.
Right.
GM and Ford would have not propelled
no
it
way
like he has. And now everybody, people, some people vilify him, and then other young people are inspired by him.
Yeah.
And it gets people to think differently and to try different things out and go, hey, he could do something, I could do something.
And that's the thing. And it's like sometimes people, there was this interesting book that I read. Oh man, what was it called? I'll put it a pop-up later, and I'll message you later on. I think it was called the Hero Class, the Leader Class or something. It was this book about leaders. And one of the things that they talked about was that true leaders are always disruptors. And a disruptor can either be extremely good or can lead to absolute chaos to the system. But no matter what, when you get a disruptor who comes in, they reset things, and the society has to reset kind of around them. Granted, it's not always good, but quite often the aftermath of it is a positive because people have to reset. And that's one of the things I like about Elon Musk is that the man is the penultimate disruptor. Like, he came in, and when the system was like, before PayPal, think about it. You wanted to send money to something. You wanted to buy something online. It was so difficult, and then suddenly PayPal just changed the game. And then same thing, all of the different things that he's come along. And granted, I don't know if all of his ideas will succeed. We'll see how the Boring Company pans out. But, SpaceX, privatizing space flight, and Tesla has changed the game for automotive. It's awesome like that,
Yep. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see that. I think that we're allowed now to become a little bit more free thinkers and to propel ourselves because there isn't a bureaucracy in the way with the whole internet, and the technology is always, you could always circumvent that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's interesting what's happening in media and news media now with all these independent outlets. And where that's heading, and where the truth is going, and it's wonderful. I mean, we're living in an interesting time, and I think it's a time of really big change.